FizzBuzz is a classical programming problem. You could do it pretty much in any major programming language. Sometimes it's actually used as a job interview question. So today we're going to take a look how to solve this problem efficiently using Python programming language. Hi, my name is Art, and this is Practice Python Problems and Efficient Solutions at RoboticView.com. So let's take a look at FizzBuzz. So first of all, what the problem is about. So the problem is that you need to generate a range of numbers from 1 to usually to 100, and you need to check each number if number is divisible with no remainder by 3. So if that's the case, you need to print Fizz. If number is divisible by 5, then you need to print Buzz. And if number at the same time divisible by 3 and by 5, you need to print FizzBuzz. All right. So let's break it down. And before we get to actual problem, I just want to explain you a couple of major things that we would need to solve this problem. So first of all, what does it mean? Divisible with no remainder. Let me remind you 3 different types of division in Python. So first one is regular division, 5 divided by 3. So we're going to get something like this. So that would be regular division. Then we have floor division, and floor division always returns a whole number. Always returns an integer. It will round down that number. And floor division, another way to explain floor division would be how many times you could take 3 and fit it into 5. Apparently only once, right? So why would you need the floor division? Suppose you have a group of people, let's say 7 people, and you need to split them up into 2 teams. So obviously you don't want to look silly and say like 3.5 people in team A, 3.5 people in team B. So in those cases you would want to use floor division because you need to get you would need to get a whole number, right? So that would be floor division. And the last one would be modulo or modulus, or sometimes people just call it percentage sign. So basically what it does, if you take 5 divided by 3, remainder will be 2. What does it mean? It means if you take 3 and fit it into 5, so you could fit 3 into 5 only once, and remainder would be 2. Now, so that kind of division you could use to check if number is even or odd, right? How would you check if number is even or odd? So for example, 6 modulo 2 will get you remainder 0, so that would be even number. However, 7 modulo 2 will return you remainder, right? So if number could be divisible with no remainder, so that number would be even number. So in this case, in FizzBuzz, that's exactly what they're asking us. So they're asking us to take a number divided by 3 with no remainder, and then we gotta print Fizz, right? All right, so that's the first thing. Next thing, let me explain you how to use function range. All right, so in Python there is function range. Now, if you don't know how to use function range, that's okay, because you should know how to use function help. So pretty much any function in Python you could pass into function range, and then you're going to see that definition about function range. So let's take a look what's going on here. So you see function range. So first of all, what does it do? So it's really simple. Function range produces a sequence of integer. That is it. That is it. Function range produces a sequence of integer from start, okay, and to stop. Now, if you pass just one number, and keep in mind that function range will accept only integers, if you pass just one number, it will take it as a stop, right? So let me show you what I mean. So most of the time you would use function range with a for loop. For I in range, and suppose here I'll pass 5. Alright, let me stop right here, let me print I, and you see I'm getting here sequence of integers. It starts with 0. Why 0? Because that would be default value, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're probably wondering why we're not getting 5. We're not getting 5 because, again, if you go to help, you see it says that stop is exclusive, right? And if in some instances you're not happy with 0, so maybe you want to start at 1 and get all numbers up to 5, so then here you could pass 1. So first argument would be start, and then 5, instead of 5 we use 6, and if you rerun this, you see you're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pretty simple. By the way, there is another argument, third argument, so third argument would be step. So 1 means that we're getting every number from 1 to 5, right? Okay, now if you change step to 2 and we run this, so you're going to get every other number. You see, we're skipping a number. Also, not in this case, we don't need it to solve this problem, but since we're on the subject of function range, step could be negative. So for example, if I want to go from 6 to 1, right, in a descending order, so what I could do, my starting point will be 6, my stop would be 0. Keep in mind that stop is exclusive, so we're not going to get to 0, we're going to get to 1, and then I gotta go with a negative step. Again, if it helps, think of a negative step as moving in the opposite direction. So now if I run this, you see I'm getting 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? So that's pretty much function range. All it does generates a range of numbers. All right, now it's time to take a look at FizzBuzz. All right, so let's take a look one more time what they're asking us to do. So print a sequence of numbers from 1 to n, so usually we do it up to 100. Okay, so we know how to use function range. Our starting point would be 1, because you don't want to divide 0, right? And stop, what should we use for stop? For if you want to say 100, then you gotta go one more number, 101, right? So obviously step would be positive. So let's run this, and you see here we get a range of numbers, everything up to 100. You see, up to 100, right? So that would be our first step. All right, cool. So then you see they got if. So in Python, we always open with the if statement, and then if we need more layers of logic, we usually use elif. Elif stands for else if. All right. So here, what we could do, we could squeeze in if statement, if I divisible by 3, and how would I check remainder? I use double equal sign. So double equal sign is a comparison operator. I'm comparing if result would be 0. So I'm comparing if result would be 0, and then I want to print, make sure your indentation is correct. I want to print Fizz. Let's take a look. So you see I got a bunch of Fizz, but I'm seeing numbers, so let's squeeze in here I. And you see 3 divisible by 3 with no remainder, so Fizz. 6 divisible by 3 with no remainder, so Fizz. You see? Everything. However, there is one little problem. You see? 15. So technically this is correct. So 15 divided by 3 also will be divided with no remainder. However, they're asking us if number is divisible by either 3 or 5 at the same time. Keep in mind, at the same time. So then, I'm sorry, not this line. If number is divisible both by 3 and 5, you see? at the same time. So it should be replaced with FizzBuzz. So guess what? We never see FizzBuzz in this case. Why? Because if this first condition returns true, it will print Fizz. So Python runs in sequence. So if we want to check this condition, we need to place it on top. You see? So there is no way you could place it on the bottom, because if I is divisible by 3, so then it's going to print Fizz, and bam, you're done. So in this case, we want to check if number at the same time is divisible by 3 and by 5. So how can we do it? So we could do I divisible by 3, so that's the first condition, and then we could add another condition, and we could literally do AND. You see? Now keep in mind that when you do AND, you would need to repeat the condition again. So in this case, condition will be similar, although I'll divide by 5. And in this case, I'm going to get FizzBuzz. So let's take a look. So here I got 15 FizzBuzz. Sounds like true. 30, 45, 60, 75, 90, right? So that would be the cases for Fizz and Buzz. All right, cool. So again, this condition should be checked first. Otherwise, you'll never get to that condition, because if first condition returns true, bam, it's elected and it's done. All right. Now, so in Python, we always open with if, and then we need to use, if we need more layers of logic, we need to use elif, as many elifs as you like. Again, elif stands for else if. All right, and then it's kind of simple. So now I could actually check if number is divisible by 3. So then I want to print number, and I want to print just first part Fizz. So next, and you see I'm just copying this because that's kind of same stuff, only the number is now 5. So that would be Buzz. And so they also got else here. So if number is not divisible by 3 and by 5, we should just print that number. So then to me it sounds like else, and then we'll just print I. All right, and let's take a look what's going on. So here we get 1, 2, not divisible by 3 or by 5. Then we got 3, Fizz, valid point, Buzz, okay, by 5. All right, cool. And then when you scroll down, you'll see there is FizzBuzz. So now this stuff works, and you see 30 is FizzBuzz, and 45 is a FizzBuzz. All right, so what's the idea behind this exercise? So the idea behind this exercise is actually learn how to use function range and how you could generate range of numbers, right, within a certain range. And here again we got 3 arguments: start, stop, step. So stop is exclusive. And another idea behind this exercise is that if you have a couple of conditions, you need to check them first. Because guess what? If I take this condition and if I place it here, this would never work. So let's say this would never work. I just want to show you wrong solution. Now you see, if I run this condition on the bottom, take a look. So 30 is just Fizz, 15 is just a Fizz. And you see, they're trying to confuse you because they're trying to say, oh, by the way, there is a third condition. If number at the same time divisible by 3 and by 5, then should be replaced by FizzBuzz. All right, so now you know that these conditions should be done on top, and then here again it's going to be elif, and this will be elif. All right, so that's pretty much all about FizzBuzz.